Wagwan, my loves. It's Knowledge Butterfly, aka Elisa, aka Tiffany. Hold on, something blue. As always, send you guys all peace, blessings, love, and abundance. I had actually recorded this video at Oz Pizza because I was intuitively told that I need to go there and get a slice of pizza. This actually reminded me of when on one of Bobby Hemmett's videos, and he was talking about Spirit told him to order a pizza, and he didn't, at the time, he didn't understand why that was spiritual, why he needed to do that. But he did it, and it was almost like a test, you know what I'm saying? So his life was actually blessed. I don't recall the whole story, but basically his life was bliss because he listened to Spirit. So same thing happened to me. I was led by my spirit to go to Oz Pizza. The word Oz, it actually reminded me of being at the event, and A.A. Rashid was talking about the two pillars, Boaz and Jakim, and he was focusing on Boaz, and he broke that up into two words. B was separated from the O-A-Z, and he said the O-A-Z actually, when you separate it, it's actually pronounced Oz, okay? And so when you think of Oz, he start breaking down the Wizard of Oz and everything like that. So I'm like, okay. A. Rashid brought up Oz, and here's Spirit go telling me to go to Oz Pizza and get a slice of pizza. And the reason why that was like so kind of weird for me to be led that way is because, one, I'm in my cycle of Saturn, and I talked about that in another video. We have seven different cycles in our solar return year, or what people call your birthday. And each one of those are the ancient planets that govern that, that govern one of the 7 cycles. And those 7 cycles are broken up into 52 days, which 52, 5 plus 2 is 7. Okay? And so, anywho's, me being in Saturn is about discipline, it's about structure. So I was like, okay, I need to, be on my saving game, stack up some coins. Even though I know my energy is actually the abundance because I'm actually the money. And I already feel it like in the air. I just feel it like just because my bank account is not quote unquote showing it in the physical as far as it hasn't crystallized yet doesn't mean that it's not there. Like it's literally there. So anywho's, but still I was, I go thinking, okay, this is the discipline cycle, so I need to not spend money. But Spirit said, do it. So I listened, and I went ahead and went in there. I posted a picture on my Instagram, and I think it shared to my Facebook as well, my Facebook page. But when I ordered, I got the little tent, and the tents are what they give you that represents your order. So the server can bring it out to your table, and they'll know whose order belongs to what without them having to call your name, okay? Because on your receipt, it actually has that particular letter. So the letter I got was Q. Q for Queen, honey. And that's very powerful because that's literally ancestors and my mother in particular as well talking to me, telling me, you listen, good job. You know what I'm saying? So it's a sign. And I say all that to say, I'm actually going to get into the sacral chakra and the mother energy, and this total solar eclipse, this new moon in Cancer, and how all this feminine energy is just, being sprayed down and sown into this earth and sown into us. Is being downloaded, into our DNA, into our cells. And so many people are, and I just had 444, and that 444, let me tell you, 44, thank you so much, Blue Pillow, because when I tell you the 44 has been chasing my ass, like the 144 had been chasing my ass and still is, 44 has been everywhere today, by the way. And I feel like the universe was telling me that 44 actually ties into the ancient DNA. And I'm pretty sure, not pretty sure, I know that spirit and the ancestors will give me more information on that. And as I continue to be open to receiving, they'll continue to give me information. And when it's readily already, I will share that with you guys as well. But also, Cancer, the sign of Cancer, is the ancestors. It is an open gateway and an open window for the ancestors to come through. Any type of eclipse is also a portal is open so the ancestors can come through, and that is helping um, to to motion this paradigm shift. My right eye, excuse me, guys, has been jumping, and that rarely happens. And it hasn't happened in a long time, but it just started doing that actually, maybe like an hour ago. But anywho's, and I know Spirit will reveal to me like what's going on because I've already asked the question, so I am confident, and I know, I'll be given that information. So, anywho's, um, like I said, we're having a paradigm shift. So the ancestors are definitely heavy, heavy, heavy in communicating and sending energy to us and sending signs to us. We just have to have an eye to see, you know what I'm saying, and ears to hear. All right. Anyway, like I was saying, we are in a very feminine, we have been driven by a lot of feminine energy, and it's not to take away from the masculine, but the reason why I'm doing this video is about that feminine energy and what that actually means, and also tying into the sacral chakra, and that being the mother. All right. And if anyone knows anything about the anatomy of the human body and how that ties into your chakras and your endocrine system, which goes down the center of the body, is like dividing it right in half between your masculine side, which is your right side of your body, and your feminine side, which is your left side of the body. Hence, I actually realized when I chose to get my piercing on the left side, I was choosing it on the feminine side. Anyways, but your stomach and your breast are governed by the sign of Cancer. All right. So hence, when a woman is pregnant, it fills up with milk, which you can just say milk is water. All right. Hence, when you are carrying a child, you have a lot of fluid in your belly, and they say your water broke. Okay, the bowel broke. Right. So yeah, the sacral chakra. So that's why it's a lot of creativity, people being impregnated with a lot of creative ideas and all these things that are going to be birthed. You're going to birth these things into reality. It's going to crystallize. You're going to make it, this baby, something tangible, something you can see. You know what I'm saying? That's why the abundance is coming. That's why there's so much, not just abundance and money, but that is coming as well. And I actually pulled some tarot cards. This is my first time doing this. I'm going to tell you the 3 cards I pulled. I like to do a 3-card spread. The Trinity keeps playing in my head. The number 4 keeps playing in my head. The number 7 keeps coming to mind. So it's certain numbers that keep coming up to me. So I know those are very, those numbers are penetrating right now. That's the energy that is talking to us right now and speaking to us. Because think of numbers, give them a personality, give them a personality, give them like almost like they're human. Look at them in that way, and then you have a better understanding of how things flow. All right, because everything is basically, not everything is basically, everything is energy. So energy expresses itself. All right, now excuse me, actually not excuse me, I appreciate you guys for sticking with me as I explain this, because the information is definitely coming to me right now. I'm actually holding blue aragonite, which this crystal right here is very powerful. It helps you tap into the spiritual realms. It's very good for communication. So it's good for your throat chakra, and helping you communicate things out. It also is good for helping you communicate with spirit, all right, with the ancestors and things of that nature, because it's water. And if you are familiar with any of the Vaudown, what people call voodoo, but the Voodoo, um, you'll know that a lot of times when they show the ancestors, they show hands coming out of water. Okay, so that again shows you that we are the children of Cancer. All right, and the ancestors in the ancestral realm, everything is attached and tied to Cancer. So with this Cancer new moon coming in, we have a lot of ancestral energy coming in. So this is almost like the Day of the Dead, type of energy. So this is an important time for you to, if you're into doing any type of ritual. And to be honest, if you are spiritual, ritual is a part of spiritual. Like the word is, ritual is literally in the word spiritual. So you should be cleaning your altars today, placing some water on your altars today, and you need to be speaking and communicating with your ancestors, and especially the divine feminine, the queens. And I'm gonna tell you why and show you why when I show you my tarot cards I pulled. But that queen energy, because this is a magical time. This is a time for manifestation. This is a time for accelerating things in your life. When you think of water and you think about how powerful it is and how fast, it goes, and how you can be swept away in mere seconds if it's, powerful tides. So think about the waters in your body the same way. So that energy is building up in you. Your tides are starting to, you know, and so if you want and things to usher in, your ancestors that have transitioned, like my mother, for instance, I had a dream about her last night, and I had felt my spirit telling me to call upon my mother, because this is the time that we should be calling upon them, because your ancestors are the ones that are going to help you get through. Why do you think when a lot of times people get big, like they were talking about it in the conference as well. I think it was Aquarius Maximus. She was talking about the sacrifices that when they talk about celebrities and they sacrifice this relative, or they sacrifice a friend in order to get fame, that ancestor actually chose to be sacrificed. We are all gods. So how can somebody have control of when you transition? You choose that. We just we don't remember it because we're in this physical bodysuit all the time, unless we have, tapped into all of our clairvoyance, our clairaudience, and things like of that nature. As we really tapped into the vision, then we don't see that those things ahead. If we're not tied into our vision and tied into our intuition, those two things work hand in hand. And then of course your heart is the gateway. I'm going to talk a little bit about the heart as well, and the amour, the love, amor. That says it all right there. Amor. Melanated people, we are love. We are, that's the word for love in the French language. So, but anywho's, so because more and more of us are getting in tune with our intuition, and we're tapping back into our heart, we're getting our heart situated and letting go of a lot of the hurt that we had held on to, because hate, Dr. LML Bay will tell you, and he's the one I learned it from, will tell you that your heart chakra is where hate is stored. And he actually talks about, and actually your heart, and he talks about each organ and the negative emotions, what negative emotions are stored in which organ. Okay, so because we are clearing out a lot of trauma because your sacral chakra takes on sexual trauma. So if someone was abused as a child, if you've been raped, all that's going to be stored in your sacral chakra, and that's where your baby goes. So that tells you a lot as to why our children are so traumatized, right? And then the fluoride and things that are in the water, calcifying your pineal gland. You know what I'm saying? So it's literally giving you trauma in the three, the Father, the Son, and the Mother. You know what I'm saying? That Holy Trinity. And so now that we've all been working and clearing out a lot of that energy, we've done a lot of the alchemy, which is what the Magician card is talking about, right? We've been doing the alchemy, and the Magician card has all four of the suits. It has the wands, it has the cups, it has the sword, and it has the pentacles. and you know he's holding up his wand, um, and on top of his head is the infinity, right? The infinity sign, which means infinite. It's always going on. It cycles. Things always come back to that center point. So you have the two extremes. You have the masculine and the feminine, but we always have to come back to the center. And again, that represents that heart chakra, coming back to that heart chakra. And so you can also see that there's flowers blooming underneath, and you can see that he has a table set before him, prepared before him, and then above him as well. So as above, so below. There are flowers above, there are flowers below, and then he has on the red, has on red and white, and you know red, and the flowers are actually red and white as well. And we know that red ties into your root chakra, which ties into you having security, which ties into these are the things that that we've created through our alchemy. Alchemy means transmuting all that negative energy and turning it to our higher energy, that higher self. So we have been the magician. We've been doing the work. We put in the work. So this kind of represents the past. And so I like to pull past, present, future. That's what I do for myself when I do a reading. And I didn't do a reading for myself today. And normally I do it first thing in the AM. And I was like, well, I didn't do a reading today. But it all makes sense because I was meant to do it on this video. All right. So, yeah, so we've done the work. We've been working with the four suits. We've been working with the north, the south, the east, the west. We've been working with the fire, the water, the air, the earth. And now we are ready to make some things happen. So getting back into the sacral chakra, I pulled the Empress card. Now the Empress card is Venus, and you see the heart right there, and you see the Venus sign right there. So she's a queen sitting on her throne, and she also has the color red behind her, and it looks like she has red flowers on her dress. So again, we're getting time back into the red. This is things coming into the physical. This means that all that spiritual stuff that we've been doing, all that energy and things that we've been transmuting, the things that people can't see with these two eyes, and we don't necessarily see with these two eyes, that all of that was not in vain. We were actually planting seeds. And it actually looks like, when you think of flowers, you think about them being in bloom. We planted seeds, so now those flowers are about to blossom because of the seeds that we planted. You also see that there's a lot of green behind her. Green is abundance, green is money, and that also ties back into the earth. And then we have the mother energy, Venus. Venus is love, because we have been working on our love, on our heart chakra, because we have been working. If you think about also the flowers and the blooming, your baby blooms in your stomach. So we've been working on that, clearing that sacral chakra, where a lot of that childhood trauma goes, and that's what stalls your creativity and kills your creativity as well. And then she has her crown on, and the crown to me represents the royalty, the illumination. It represents being enlightened, and it looks like she might have about 12 jewels on her crown, which would represent the 12 zodiac signs. So that's showing the mastery of those 12 zodiac signs. And because we've been working on master of 12 zodiac signs within self, then guess what? We are becoming the bendo point. We're becoming that center point in our star chart. And so now we are able to really take reign and create what the fuck we want and bring it into this physical reality. And then you'll also notice there's also growth right in front of her, and it just goes to show all of the abundance, all of the fruits of our labor. Okay, and it also, this card is the number 3. So with this card being the number 3, this also ties back into the Trinity. All right, so here we go with the Empress, and she's sitting there confident, knowing that, you know, everything that she worked for, she worked for what she had, and everything she worked for is now coming to fruition. And then the last card that I pulled was the 10 of Pentacles. And it's amazing because when I was watching my sister Shanidra, my fellow queen Shanidra, hey Shanidra, shout out Shanidra, she messaged me, told me she had been watching my videos for 2 hours. That goes to show that when you follow, I keep getting 44 on this video too, when you're following in your soul purpose, that the people will come, the people that are meant to get the message will come. You don't want a million followers just to have a million followers. You want people who actually connect to your energy. You don't want people who like riding the wave. You know what I'm saying? You want real people who are doing real work and who are actually tuning in because it's something that's making a difference in their life and it's helping them ascend. Because that's what I'm about. I'm about my ascension. I'm on my ascension shit. So I know that anybody that's tuning into it for real, you on your ascension too. And I just got 2020, that 2020 vision. You feel me? You heard me? All right, so I got the Ten of Pentacles. Now remember, I said these are the past, the present, and the future. The Magician, the past. We've done the alchemy. All right. The Empress. This is what's presently happening right now. This is that Cancer new moon energy. This is the solar eclipse energy. The Empress. The Empress is what's reigning and ruling right now. This is what's ruling right now. This is the ancestors coming in right now. This is the knowledge and information coming in right now. This is the abundance coming in right now and flooding us. This is all that coming in right now. All right. Now, my third card, which is the future card, is the Ten of Pentacles. And in the Ten of Pentacles, you actually see a castle. You see two dogs next to a very wise old man. And he has on this really nice cloak. And I like to say the word cloak because it reminds me of Doctor Strange, that red cloak that chose him, right? So this cloak right here represents somebody who is, it can represent somebody in your life who has given you wisdom. I like to look at this person as a combination of all of the wise teachers, master teachers, and teachers like me who just got on YouTube and said, you know what, I want to share information because I know it's a part of my soul purpose. And also somebody in your family could be an ancestor, somebody like that. Like my great grandfather was a Baptist minister and he transitioned back in the 80s. So, you know, just looking over you, and then there's a couple right here that's celebrating and dancing. So it's almost like the ancestors looking over you and saying, well done. You know what I'm saying? You made it, you did it. And then you have like a castle in the background. You have an archway, which represent, you know, an entrance. You going through the gateway. You got the entrance. You got the black and white honey representing the masculine and the feminine energy. The chessboard. You done mastered the chessboard. And then the pentacles seem to be raining down, like rain, like abundance down on you. So that means that don't want for anything. Everything in your life is beautiful. You got a child sitting right here, well, standing right here next to the mother, and the mother has on purple. Purple is the color of royalty. And if you think of the colors that make purple, it's blue, the mother color, and red, the father color. So it's the mother and the father coming together. That's why that's a royal color, and it also represents what? Your crown. So that literally means that walking around, again, back to the Empress, you're walking around with your crown. You know what I'm saying? And then it has like, what else in here? I know that this letter right here actually is a Hebrew letter, but I'm not gonna lie and act like right now it's coming to mind. We're calling it right now, but just looking at it, the letter even looks like a crown to me. But yeah, this card literally represents that everything that, you know, ever desired, myself included, is coming. Like it's literally already here, but which is what the Empress has said, is already here, but meaning coming into the pentacles, coming onto the physical earth for others to bear witness to it. Because remember, anytime you take the more difficult route, your abundance is going to be so visible. The spotlight's going to be on you so like bright, because other people didn't understand what the fuck you were doing. You feel me? Especially I'm thinking in my situation, like leaving everything behind and becoming the fucking hermit. I was the fool, totally innocent. Just everything is beautiful. I just love life. I love everything. I love everybody. I love my people. All these things. About to go over the ledge and becoming a magician and saying, wait, now you really gotta get rid of some things. So yeah, you know, it's beautiful, you know, to open your third eye and to open up your heart chakra, but you gotta now you gotta balance these chakras. Okay, now you gotta do the work, put in the work and balance it. All right. because it's euphoric when you first get into this game. Or yeah, when you first get into this game, when you first get into the learning, that knowledge stage, which Aquarius Maximus. Now I'm going to talk a little bit in cardology. Now I just really started to get into studying it. I was reading the Mystic test book, uh, that book, and it was another one. I think it's called Sacred, or don't. I'll think about it later. But it's another book also that deals with cardology. So I read 2 books on cardology, and I've also been reading websites, and then I follow Aquarius Maximus and another young lady, Diamonds 8 on Instagram, and they are cardologists, master cardologists. So, anywho's, the cards that I wanted to talk about really quickly in cardology is this card right here, which the Ace of Spades represents. Aquarius Maximus says going into like going into like seclusion, going into the black hole. I remember when I was a little girl, I used to dream about falling into black holes all the time. I remember I was a little girl and I was swimming in a black pool with white Jesus. Well, he wasn't swimming, but he was in there. But the reason why I saw white Jesus was because not my whole family, but my grandmother was very, very much into it. And they used to take me to church all the time. And like I said, my great grandfather was a Baptist minister, so my subconscious mind had to show me him as a symbol, because that is exactly what was around me. You know, that energy through my family members. But it was a black pool of water, black. You know what I'm saying? And that's the Divine Mother. And so it really is just telling you like to really get into the studying, because this is the initiation card. This is the initiation into the occult. This is initiation into all that hidden knowledge, right? So this card right here is, if you look at the spades, the spade is, if you flip it, it's really a heart. Okay, it's a heart, and then it has at the top of it this little piece, which actually kind of looks like the Trinity. All right, and this is a heart. This is the Ace of Hearts. Now, the Ace of Hearts is supposed to be the first card in your natural and the natural life spread. If you know anything about cardology, there are 52 cards, and 5 plus 2 is 7. Is 7 as well. That's not counting. That's not counting the jokers, the 2 jokers, because the jokers add up to 1 1/4, which represents December the 31st. All right, the last day of the Gregorian calendar. Now, this card right here represents the very beginning. This represents when you're born into this physical plane, and this represents you being a child and discovering love. You are literally using your environment, your parents, your mother, your father, if you have siblings, nature around you, the trees, everything is love, right? But this is what the first card of the natural spread is, because as a child you're supposed to explore, you're supposed to become one and realize you're one. It's not become, you're supposed to realize that you are one with everything around you, nature, your parents, and all that good stuff. But because we had been living backwards, we had been living in the upside down, we had been living through our lower nature, our lower chakras, and not tapping into our heart chakra and the higher chakras. It actually started with the 3 of Hearts, which the 3 of Hearts, if you look at it, in the middle, you're in the middle, and you're divided between 2, your higher and your lower self, right? So this literally looks like us. And to be honest, when I first pulled these cards out, because I pulled these cards out on purpose, I was like, what are you going to be talking about? Because you haven't really studied these cards like that. But I have been studying these cards, and not just that. Again, the ancestors are using me as a vehicle. But yeah, that's exactly what it looks like. This looks like your higher self, your lower self, and you're supposed to be the center. All right, the heart chakra. All right, this can also represent the pineal gland, the heart chakra, and then the sacral. All right, so this ties back into the 3, what I've been talking about. So the energy right now is us finally getting all of the things that we have been so working for, because we put our spiritual self first. But did I finish the ritual, y'all? Yeah. So ritual, like I said, you want to make sure that um, you are communicating and tuning into the ancestors, and mainly tuning into the motherly ancestors that passed on. If you have mothers and grandmothers, aunts, or whoever in your life, who was in your life in the physical, you want to communicate with them, set up an altar for them. I'm going to be using the number 3 a lot and the number 4 on my altar. Um, you want to make sure that you are setting a glass of water on there, because that's representing the energy that's coming in right now. So we want to put that out there on the altar. And I'm also going to put, because my mother loved grapes. Grapes is purple, honey. And grapes, a lot of times, if you look at even some of the tarot cards, and if you look at some in mythology, you'll see a lot of times the gods had grapes. So grapes represents the god. It represents the god frequency. And so I'm going to be utilizing a bowl of grapes. That's what I'm going to give to my mother. Um, and yeah, that's really the majority of what I wanted to say to you guys. Yeah, that the sacral chakra, that water is rushing through. Um, the mother energy, the divine feminine energy is rushing through. So don't forget, to stay mindful of that, to stay open to receiving the information, and you know, just allow yourself to truly tap into this energy, because it is definitely rewarding. I already can feel it. Like I feel excited and grateful. That's another thing, your gratitude every day. Before I even put my feet on the ground, I lay flat on my back, and the first thing that I do is say what I'm grateful for. That's the very first thing, and I just spend as much time. I don't give myself a time limit. I spend as much time as I feel I need, and I say what I'm grateful for, and then I set my intentions for the day. You know what I'm saying? And then after that, I start saying my affirmations. I start affirming, because this is the self-love and self-care. This is that mother energy. You know how your mama always act like you can do no wrong? Speaking that life and love into you. You're supposed to be speaking of life and love into yourself. I even noticed the difference in how I feel about myself, because of the fact that I've been doing this affirmation for a whole week, saying I love and accept myself for who I am. Another affirmation that we should can be doing is saying that I I I love I love it was a specific wording that I'm trying to get to, so maybe I can just come up with my own right now, because the specific wording is not coming to me. But affirmations about your intuition. I love that I am attuned and aware of my intuition, and I am able to decode and decipher um, the information that my intuition gives me, or however you want to put it. But what I mean is just basically, instead of doubting and saying I can never tell my intuition speaking to me, I've done that. That's why I can say that. I got the 333 and the 3333. Goodness, I've done that. Stop saying that. That's making it harder on yourself. So this is the time to trust in your intuition. You can do that by your affirmation, saying that you um, receive messages from your intuition very easily. You know what I'm saying? You are able to communicate with the ancestors very easily, giving thanks for that, giving gratitude for it as if it's already there. And I know this is a true message, because I am receiving the same information that my sister Shanidra received, and it's like, yeah, I think that's probably my right eye is jumping, because so much information is coming in so quickly. But I'm actually going to end the video on that note, guys. I really definitely appreciate you for tuning in. I appreciate you for just, who you are, and for taking this journey with me. You know what I'm saying? That we are definitely all being synchronized. I saw one of my this beautiful queen that I met at the event. We started following each other on Instagram, and she posted something about, there's no competition between queens, and I'm like, girl, I just did a video on that. So you just see how this is that feminine energy telling us to get our shit together, telling us that we have no reason to be jealous. The last thing I'm going to say is, as I was walking back from Oz Pizza and the other errands I ran, because I went and got myself another notebook and I got me some more colorful pens, because when I take notes, I like to take them in different colors, because when I change subjects, I like to put in another color. That way I can kind of decipher or just look at the page and tell, very easily. But I was, men blow your horn all the time, and I have on these cute little short shorts, and I have my Don Julio shirt on that I got when I went out with my baby sister. And somebody blew the horn. I was like, men blow the horn all the time. I just, keep it moving. Give thanks. They feel, this body is attractive, but I know I'm attractive, so I don't necessarily need their approval, but give thanks. It's cool. But I heard a horn honk, and I heard somebody say, "You go, girl," and it was a female. I turned around. It's a melanated female telling me, "You go, girl." And I said, you see how that energy, when you change your energy and you start loving yourself for who you are, that way you can love other melanated females or other females that are in the same bodysuit. Therefore, you can love all females and not even feel a way about anything. How it changes the game, and how the energy you start to magnetize and attract is totally different. Totally different. So, yeah. Got my blue aragonite, got my white opal, both of them tied into the moon energy. And I actually said that backwards. This is the white opal, and it got these beautiful specks in it. I love it. And this actually ties into to Cancer. That's why I'm carrying this around. This ties into the sign Cancer. So if you have an opal, white opal to be exact, it ties into Cancer, and that is my ascendant sign. And then I have blue aragonite, that throat chakra energy, also receiving those communications down from the ancestors. That information downloading into me and being able also to communicate with them properly. So again, I'm going to end the video on this note, guys. If you are definitely feeling these vibrations, the vibes that are coming from me, you can click on the subscription button in my video. Also, I have at the bottom, I have my Facebook, I have my Instagram. You can go follow me on that, see my posts. And if you feel open to sending a donation, if you feel the vibrations and the love frequency to do so, if your spirit is moving you to do so, I am definitely, I welcome and I'm open to those love donations as well. So I have that information at the bottom. So thank you so much again, guys.